order Selectmen's meeting for Tuesday, May 14th. As we always do, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Before we get positioned on this flag.
I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item is vote on objection of removal of public shade tree by Bob LeBlanc, tree warden at 141 South Street, which is within the right-of-way. Welcome, Bob.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Robert LeBlanc, Town of Walpole, tree warden. In March this past year, I was contacted by the resident, Mrs. Nancy Myers, at 140 South Street, that she had some concerns about a tree that was out in front of her house. She felt that there was a significant concern with the tree, and she would like me to come over and take a look at it. It determined if it was a public shade tree and what could be done. I went over, took a look at the tree, and noticed that there are several deficiencies with the tree. The tree has large cavities. It also has a canopy that has some dieback. It's a 52-inch white oak, probably about 75 feet tall. It stands on the side of the road, actually probably about 24 inches from the traveled way. The surrounding trunk of the tree has been compromised. It looks like probably back in, I think it was 1989, there was a condominium complex put in at 145 South Street. And when they did the entrance exit to the complex, they installed granite curbing. I'm sure that probably at that point in time, they felt that they were going to try to save the tree. So they put the granite curbing in and left the tree. But the granite curbing actually is probably about 18 inches off the trunk of the tree. So I would assume that what had happened is that the roots on that side of the tree have been severed, and they installed the granite curb. On the back side of the tree, also on the trunk of the tree, there's also some significant rot that's going on at the ground level. There's enough outward signs on this tree that I have concern about, and so I felt that it was a good candidate for removal. I had a tree hearing on the 11th of April. Quite a few people came to the hearing. Jeff Rice and myself were at the hearing, and we had a good discussion about decay of trees, about hazard trees, and potential of injury to personal property and pedestrians or vehicles. At the end of the meeting, we still had one objection per Mass General Law, Chapter 87, Section 4. If there is an objection in writing, it needs to come to the road commissioners for final resolution. The objection in writing was a gentleman named Mr. Ben Sacco. So we're here tonight to hopefully present to the committee the situation with the tree at 140 South Street. Recommendation from myself is a removal on this tree at this time.
Thank you. I'll open it up. Anybody on the board have any questions for Bob right now? And then
Yes,
I'll
I
see
do
if
have a
anybody
question.
wants to speak.
Was there some failure in the last several months? I see there's one branch cut in one of the pictures. Did that fall?
Yes, there was a branch failure there. I think it was early December, we had a branch that was, it was leaning up against the trunk of the tree. Jeff Rice went out with the truck, we picked it up. The canopy is failing. There's dieback in the canopy, and there have been prior failure, yes.
Is that the only incident that you know of recently as far as branches?
Recently, I think just, within the last couple of weeks, there was another branch that came down and fell.
And how big was that branch?
That was smaller than the one that was in December.
All right, thank you.
Is there anybody here who would like to speak about this tree in particular, or any tree? Please come on up, yep. Come right up to the microphone. That way the people watching on TV will be able to hear you. Welcome.
I'm Nancy Myers. I got this started, I guess, with my call to the tree warden's office in February. One of my niece's cars had been heavily damaged in a windstorm the first week in February by a much smaller limb falling from a pine tree to the right of my driveway. her car wound up being totaled by her insurance company because it was so heavily damaged. That brought back our concern that we've had for several years regarding the oak tree that's at on the sidewalk in front of our homes. It's been losing bark from both the trunk and the upper tree limbs for quite a while now. And I'm not so much concerned about property damage as I am about personal or public safety, not just my own family, but others, because that's a heavily trafficked area. There are a lot of walkers there, moms with their children, adults with their pets, and I think it's a serious safety concern. It's, a tragedy waiting to happen, and I'd like to see the town address it and take care of it before someone is injured. And I don't know who's objecting to it or what their reason is, but that's not a healthy tree. It's been losing bark, as I say, for quite some time. It's been hit by vehicles in accidents that I witnessed the after effects within a short time, at least twice. We've been there for 35 years, and that tree also is not really budding. Everything else in the backyard and the side yard, all the greenery is coming out. There's nothing coming out on that tree. I believe it's dead, and it's a danger. And I would appreciate your authorizing having it removed. The sooner the better,
Thank you.
okay?
Is there anybody else who wanted to speak to the tree on South Street? So, Bob, I'll just say that I did go out there and look at the tree today, and I hate to lose those big old trees, but, based on everything you've taught me over the years, and I've been told by other arborists, it has a lot of problems. And I do take the safety factor into account once somebody's pointed it out. My wife was driving up North Street probably 10 years ago, and a big limb came down on her car and broke out the front windshield. And so since then, it's made me a little leery of some of those old trees that are leaning, and especially when all the bark is missing. So just my perspective. I did go look at the trees, so I would side with you. So any other comments or questions?
Yeah,
Go ahead, David.
go ahead.
Sure.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ben Sacco. I was the one objection for keeping the tree. I think that the tree, I went out and looked at it before I came here. I live at 145 South Street. I see one large branch that is, has some damage and looks dead. But for the rest of that, I don't agree with you at all that it's dead. I saw a bunch of buds today. Most of the branches have buds on them. I looked at it right before I came here. And the tree's got to be 200 years old. I don't think that just because we think it's going to fall. One, I don't think that tree's going to fall. Maybe some branches might, but that even if it was dead, that tree's so thick, I don't think it would fall at all. I don't think that we should be cutting down something that's 200 years old just because we're afraid of a couple branches. And I just think that this town in general is taking out too many trees, and I think we need to stop doing that.
All right, thank you. David, I'll go back to you.
So, I know that sometimes even trees that are fully rotted on the interior still have leaves and look healthy. Is that correct?
A lot of times a tree can leaf out, yes, and be hollow in the center. That is a very real thing that happens. So what we need to do is look at some of the exterior signs here about this tree. This tree has significant cavities in it, and the canopy is showing signs of dieback. The tree is probably 70 or 80 years old, and I think that it's in a state of decline. I think that we're just, it's going to fail, and it's just a matter of time. It's this year, it's next year, it's next fall. So I think it's time to be proactive and not reactive on this situation.
Experience tells us this, and I did have a case, a tree fell in a city park in Providence and fell on a man and broke his arm. It was fully leaved. It was beautiful, but when you took pictures of the inside of the branch, which was substantial in size, it was completely rotted out. And so I do think that, some of the signs that on the exterior that you have already are a cause for concern. What do you make, of the loss of the bark at the base of the tree? Does that mean it's not getting, I understand the living part of the tree is just under the bark, is that fair to say, or?
Correct, right. That's where all the nutrients are uptake through the bark, through the roots, through the bark, up into the canopy of the tree, yes.
And so we're seeing like at least a quarter of this bark area where the tree is not getting that nutrients?
Right. There's some decay that's going on the backside of the tree, yes.
And do the nutrients travel, can the tree make up nutrients for that side of the tree from bark on the other side of the tree, or?
It's an overall cumulative, yes. It is an overall cumulative. But I think that the decay is in an advanced state, and it's only going to continue to increase.
Yeah, so, Bob, just a couple quick questions. So the tree looks like it has 4 or 5 main leaders off the main trunk. 2 of them look like they're hanging over or would affect wires if they were to fall. One of them actually looks like it would probably take a pole out too, to fall across the street. And then there's the one that's, and I think, Ben, you even said it looks dead, the one that's going out right over the 141 South Street driveway. That's dead. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that one's dead. There is some budding going on the tree. I spent a fair amount of time on Sunday morning looking at it. There's some budding, but that tree's done. And it's a real hazard. And I hate to cut down a 200-year-old tree too, but that tree is a hazard.
Nancy?
Can you tell us about the tree replacements? Like, what do you do when you take out this many trees? Do you ever replace them? Do you offer replacements? I mean, there is a street tree account.
Yes.
So what is kind of your common practice?
I would certainly offer a tree back, but what we really want to do from this point forward is the right tree in the right place.
Right, I understand that.
So, replacement tree, if we remove this tree at 141 South Street, might be set further back, or it might be, in a front yard, in the proper location. And I could go 1 for 1, I could go 2 for 1. As you said, there is money in the tree gift account to do replanting, absolutely.
And so Nancy, would you want a tree?
Mrs. Myers?
Would you want to replace it? A bush would be good. Something that's not gonna fall and hurt anybody. Other than that, you could leave it alone. I'll pay for a lilac bush, anything that's not gonna be dangerous.
It's kind of
Say
a,
something?
oh, I'm sorry.
Is, pulling out of the drive with the tree is a danger. Putting a bush there, I think would be even more dangerous.
It's, if she doesn't want one, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, even if they pull out the tree, they can just leave it like, whatever, clean up the,
Right.
just leave it plain, that would be fine.
Yeah, I was just also thinking,
To barrel with plants or something there.
yeah, but just that there's the other trees that you had taken down this time also. Was that discussed with anyone there, like the Washington Street, East Street?
I actually had a call from a woman who lived across the street from Blessed Sacrament Church. I took down 2 across from Blessed Sacrament Church, and they were so happy that we were finally addressing those trees in front of Blessed Sacrament Church. So not negative feedback on those 2 removals. And they said, do we need to come to the hearing? And I said, only if you have to object. So if you're in favor of having it, then, the hearing will take place, and we'll move forward with the removal on that. The other 2 were up in front of the
Well,
Pulte.
I know that they passed and they're removed, but kind of to Ben's point, if we are taking them out, are you discussing with any of these people if they did want a replacement tree?
No, I have not, no.
Because I do think it's important for the safety to remove trees that could be hazard. The last thing we would ever want is someone to die. But we do have a tree account, and street trees are, a beautiful part of the town that we like, that I think we should be looking into and offering, because, did anyone else in the room know that we have a street tree account? No. That I don't think people think to maybe ask for it, that I think it's something we should be offering.
Okay.
I saw a hand go up.
I live at 145 South Street too, at the condos, and I don't want to take down big trees and beautiful trees as well. But I've been there for about 6.5 years, and I've failed at coming to the town hall for those years because going out, I find it a public safety hazard for driving out of the parking lot. So I have 2 kids who have cars, and so it's always been on my head to always say, like, if you look correctly, you might get it, but now we have a ton more traffic with the senior center and the police station there. We have seniors driving, like, we hardly have anybody come down South Street. And then with Southbridge, has a ton more trucks coming down, so we have both ways. And so I find it to be a public safety hazard just because of going out of the condo.
Thank you.
Are there any documented accidents due to this tree?
I don't know.
Almost.
Not almost, only
Yeah,
constantly.
because I stand in the break and he did.
Yeah, so let's let us finish up, so. Any other comments from the board? Would you make a motion?
Yes.
Is it something new?
Yes,
Okay, come on up.
he's actually an arborist.
Okay.
I'm James Sacco. I don't live at 145 South Street anymore. I grew up there. Obviously, I have a more emotional attachment to the tree because it's a nice, big shade tree. It's been there forever. Surprising it lasted as long as it did with what Bob was saying about the roots being cut off when the condos were built in the 80s. But as for the large branch failure that Bob mentioned last year, that actually wasn't a branch of the oak tree. It was a branch of an adjacent elm tree that was in the woods there. And I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. It doesn't look the same. And it was. And I'm sure there has been several smaller branches falling off the tree that have died back over time. So I understand from a town setting, it's probably cheaper just to take the tree down than to try and prune it and preserve it as long as you can. I don't know the numbers for that. I don't know what it would cost to prune it as opposed to removing it and how many times you would do that before it would actually need to come down. But I see you could still get some years out of this tree. It's uncertain as to how long you could get out of it. I've sounded it before. It doesn't sound hollow. It could be a certain amount of inches in. It's hard to tell. Like I said, I'm a mass certified arborist as well. The tree had a full canopy last year. It is budding now. It doesn't look like it has as many buds last year. There could be more. It just depends on how it can go throughout the season. But you see oak trees like this in the woods or even in someone's backyard anywhere, and a lot of times they could hold on to big deadwood for 40 years before it falls out of the tree. We shouldn't leave it there if it's over a hazard, like if it's over a target, but just depending on how much it costs, take it down versus pruning it, trying to preserve it.
So can I ask Ben?
Oh, sure, go right
And I
ahead.
don't want to cause trouble at home, but
Yeah.
what do you think about the bark, the loss of the bark at the base of the tree?
I saw one particular cavity on it when it looks like it was a little spongy on one part of it. It's like a triangle section at the bottom facing the sidewalk. Probably a machine went by at some point and took the bark off. It looked like it had some compartmentalization, which is the tree growing over the wound. I don't know how significant that is. It could be pretty significant. I don't think that is, saying that it's probably been there for 15 years now, that wound, and it's hasn't done that much. Of course, more and more decay sets in as time goes on. But I mean,
Well, it's interesting.
with all the stress factors considered and how long the tree has stood after all of this has happened, it's pretty amazing, actually.
It's interesting. There's also a report from Eversource, an arborist for Eversource, that indicates that probably that scarring is caused by having done the mulching around it all these years. And then
It could be that too. There's definitely mulch that's been packed up too high over time, and that causes decay when it's above a certain grade on the tree, because the trunk isn't meant to be underground, just the roots are meant to be underground. There's different oils and stuff that the bark that the roots has that the trunk bark does not, to protect itself from being underground.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Yeah,
I think that's all.
thank you.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to support the decision of Robert LeBlanc, tree warden, to remove the tree as it is a potential hazard.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Against? Okay, 4-0. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Next up, sorry. Next up, we have the request of Douglas Burcheski to be appointed as a regular member of the Conservation Commission. Come on up.
So that needs to be my son's best friend.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for volunteering.
Yes, I think if you had looked at my application, I had previously served on the Conservation Commission roughly back in the early 90s, and I enjoyed helping out with that service back then. I ended up having to step down when I got a new job that required a lot of traveling, so I wasn't able to help out. And now, more recently, I've retired, and now I feel like I can come back and contribute. I've got a degree in biology and chemistry, and also I've taken environmental studies courses. I've been involved in water purification all my life, pretty much, making membranes for purifying water, drinking water. I've also hold a license, industrial wastewater treatment operator license for Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And I feel committed to helping conservation whenever it can be helped.
Great. I always tell people I really appreciate when people step up and volunteer, because I think it is one of the things that makes a town great, when there's lots of volunteers to help out with lots of different things and share their expertise. So thank you for that. I'll open it up to questions from the board. Anybody have any questions? So,
No, I like, it's nice that in retirement you're thinking of us, so I appreciate it, and welcome back.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to appoint Douglas Burcheski
Yes.
as a regular member to the Conservation Commission.
I'll second that. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
So procedurally, Cindy will send you a letter, then you go to the town clerk and get sworn in.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Great.
Thanks for volunteering.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next up, we have, we're looking for 2 candidates to serve as at-large members on the school building committee. I can see a couple of you out there right now. I did want to mention that I don't know what you saw for a write-up or all that, but it's going to be roughly a 5-year process. You don't have to commit to all 5. It's probably going to be twice a week. It will probably be on Tuesday nights. It consists of a group of people, including members of the school committee, permanent building committee, somebody from finance committee, 1 member from the Board of Selectmen, and then superintendent of schools, principal of Bird, probably the assistant superintendent. So there's a series of positions. It's typically, when we built a building like this, we had a working committee that worked on the design, and then we went to the permanent building committee on a weekly basis during construction. And permanent building committee, made sure that everything was in line. They checked all the invoices, approved payment, and all that. But the state for school building has a very specific group they want put together. So this is our attempt to put together a working group that matches what the state is requiring. And Walpole was accepted in December into the school building program to take a look at Bird Middle School or possibly having a combined middle school. And that process is really just kicking off there are a few deliverables that the town is responsible to give to the school building board one of which is due by the end of the month, which is who is actually on this committee. So that's our goal, is to get the committee formed, get the right people appointed, submit it to the state. So the committee will really start working as an official committee in June. It's public meeting, so even if we don't select you to be on the committee tonight and you have an interest, you can go. For example, members of the Board of Selectmen will appoint one official person, but others may choose to go to any particular meeting just because they're interested in that topic or whatever they think will come up that day. So just wanted to give people sort of a little bit of a background and flavor for what's happening. So why don't we open it up with Boris? I don't think, you're not Boris, right? Katya, you want to come up? And we've seen the paperwork you submitted. Maybe you could give us 2-3 minutes on why you'd be a good choice for the school building committee.
Alrighty. So I have been a Walpole resident for 16 years. I have 2 kids. I have one at Fisher, he's in 2nd grade, and I have one at Johnson, she's in 7th grade. Over the years, I have wanted to be involved in the Walpole community a little bit more, and I have tried as much as I can. And I'm finally at a point where I have more time to be involved. My kids are out of daycare. I have a lot more flexibility at work, so I am ready to give more time to the Walpole community. And the school, this part, I feel, is a really interesting project that Walpole needs. At one of my previous jobs, I was part of a larger feasibility study to look at all of the courthouses across the state to develop or define a safe and secure waiting area for victims of crimes. So I had the opportunity to tour courthouses, to work with judges, correctional officers, building administrators, and see how that project worked and how we could provide the service that we were trying to provide. So it was really interesting. So I think this kind of will combine my personal interest in making sure that my children are safe, that they have access to the tools and resources that they need academically, and then the experience that I bring of doing something a little bit different than what I do in my daily job.
Thank you. Any questions for Katya? Nope, okay, thank you.
Can I say a comment about the trees? So, December or November, my husband had someone come in and evaluate the trees. They had to take 9 tree downs on the right side of my house. 2 weeks later, a tree on the left side fell, destroyed my brand new car. And it was a tree that the guy told us, oh, that's fine, you don't need to take it down.
Yeah, you never know.
My house could have destroyed. I lost my car, fence, tons of stuff. So anyways, I'm here. I'm really interested in doing this. I have the time, and I think I'm going to be a great asset to the Walpole community for this.
Okay, thank you. Amy? Nope. Everyone knew the time, right? Cindy?
Yeah. I sent them the time and the location.
Andrea?
She has the flow.
Lucy?
She, right.
Yeah, we always like to interview people before we vote on anything, so would you mind if we just move on to something else for a few minutes, and hopefully the other people will pop in? Maybe they were at one of the, I think there's some school events going on tonight, so.
Well, they're in the wrong building.
Or they could be at
Or
the
they
wrong
could be
building.
at the
Yeah,
wrong
that could be.
building.
Well, I told them here.
Yeah,
But,
so the reason we're here is the main meeting room at Town Hall was flooded out in the wintertime when a pipe froze. So that hasn't been put back online, so that's why our meetings tend to move around, so maybe they're chasing after us.
they're on the
So
circuit.
let's move on to the next item. I see Tom Schneider. Come on up, Tom, who has requested to serve on the Walpole Town Forest Committee as an associate member. Welcome.
Thanks. Yeah, hi, everybody. My name's Tom Schneider. Walpole resident since '96. I live, you could see my house if the walls were clear. I live on Clark Avenue. Couple kids. Pretty involved in the community. I'm an Epiphany Parish member and been on the vestry on and off for about 10 years. I'm currently the race director for the Village Fair 5K. I'm a Mason for 12 years. treasurer of the Masonic Angel Fund with the Masons. I'm a founder and currently co-founder and currently treasurer for Breaking Bread Community Meal. I really love this town. I really love being involved in a wide variety of different things. And that brings me to my application for the Town Forest Committee. I love the Town Forest. I mean, they're all the time. I'm a pretty active guy, but I think I'm one of the top users of that space. I volunteered recently on the boardwalk for the extension to Jarvis Farm. From my perspective, I think we're really blessed in Walpole to have so much conservation space and free space. Adams Farm, Jarvis Farm, the aforementioned, and apropos Town Forest. It really sets us apart, I think, from neighboring communities. So I'm looking forward to serving on the Town Forest Committee as one of the stewards of this really precious asset, in my opinion.
Thanks. And you heard what he said about volunteers earlier, and
Yes.
I know Tom because his daughter Emily was on the robotics team, so I hope she's doing well.
She is.
We did see her at a robotics competition earlier in the season, so
Yeah, she's doing
glad
great.
to see her
Thanks for
over
your
at school.
consideration. Appreciate it.
Sure. Anybody have any questions for Tom?
No.
Okay, good. Nancy?
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Tom Schneider to the Town Forest Committee as an associate member.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Same thing. You'll get a
There
letter
you
from
go.
Cindy, then you can get sworn in, so.
But I'm sure Gary
You
will let
happy,
you
Gary?
help with the trails any time before then.
All right, thank you. You good with the chainsaw?
Thank you all. I am pretty good.
Okay.
Those digits, yeah.
That's how Gary ranks you.
Next up is vote of the Board of Selectmen to select somebody for the school building committee. I'm going to nominate David Salvatore.
Second.
Do we have any further discussion? Motion is second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I appreciate it, and we did have a discussion. I will come to this with an open mind. We all, right from the beginning, knew that Bird needed work, and we'll figure it out as far as what the community wants and what we can afford as far as either combined or one new middle school or a repair of middle school. So
Great.
it looks like a good committee from what we're gonna.
I think it's going to be a good committee. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So, as you can tell by how long it takes to do anything. And I was very involved in this building, and it was definitely a marathon. And people have been working on it for 2 years before I started going to the weekly meetings. And but it will be fun. There'll be a lot of interesting things that you'll learn along the way. So, thank you for doing that,
I
David.
appreciate it. Appreciate the confidence of the board.
Vote use of, it's not quite 7:45. We'll stop for open forum when that happens. Vote use of Adams Farm request of Mark Walter for trail running race on October 27th. Is all the paperwork in order? And Adams Farm has approved that, right?
Adams Farm's approved, yeah. I don't put it on until they approve.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I'll make a motion to approve the use of Adams Farm on October 27th for trail running race.
I'll second that. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Use of Adams Farm by Susan Palumba for Artisans Market on September 28th and 29th. I'll make that motion, sorry. I'll make a
Okay,
motion to
sorry.
approve the use of Adams Farm for Susan Palumba for the Artisans Market on September 28th and 29th. I should have let you do that,
Just to let you know, both of those had to pay because they're not profit.
because they're not nonprofits,
Right.
okay. All right,
So
thank
one
you.
of them will be 500, the other one's 1,000.
Okay. So do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I'll make a motion to approve the request to use the parking lot across from the police station for a truck pull on July 27th from 10 a.m. to noon. And I think, Pauline, do you want to come up to talk to it?
Please.
No, no dogs.
Can we bring our own
People-
trucks, or are
I think
these
it's gonna
like
be
trucks that are
people.
coming in?
It's actually quite interesting. We should
Oh,
have
John's
John
a-
come up, but John did it previously for need. So in essence, we get the first responders within our community and surrounding communities to compete against each other to pull a truck 20 feet. So GoFee's a service dog
So they're
program.
physically pulling a truck?
They physically
Oh, that would
pull
be
it.
interesting,
It's a
yeah.
big tug of war against a fire truck. So we're hoping to have 2 divisions, a fire truck and an ambulance, either women and younger people for the ambulance. Haven't totally decided on which way to go with that, but it'll be a fun event. We're gonna bring people to here, the police station, and like I said, it's gonna be a lot of, I'm a nurse at Norwood Hospital, so a lot of local first responders, the EMS system, the fire departments around to compete against each other in the police stations. So I think it'll be a lot of fun, and it'll be really great thing for Walpole.
Great, it does sound very interesting.
And will our number one girl be there?
Bridget, right? Rebel,
Yes.
Rebel will be there.
Will there be a wagon for Rebel to pull?
Yeah, absolutely, she'll be there for sure.
Very good.
Okay, very good, yeah.
I made a motion.
Oh, we have a motion, and did I make a second? Second? Motion and second. Thank you, Cindy. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
27.
July 27th.
July?
We gotta have a tractor
Yeah,
division too,
July
if you wanna get all
27th,
the
10 a.m.
trails guys and town forest guys. And
Public
Right.
Works.
They usually give them the summer off.
Nope, now they were busy. I will make a motion to approve the change of officers for the Walpole Country Club.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And I will make a motion to approve the change of officers for Walpole Country Club.
I did that.
We just
Oh, I
that
did the
one.
country
Yeah.
club? Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. The Texas Roadhouse Holding LLC. I'm sorry.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 School Street from Common to East.
I'll make a motion to approve the request in document 5-11 for the night before the 4th celebration.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? So for those who don't know, the night before the 4th is a great celebration in Walpole. Fireworks, music. You get to see all your friends who have been hiding away all winter. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye. And I will make a motion to approve the request to use Town Common for the Memorial Day observation on May 27th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and to block off Elm Street between the Commons from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye. And Main Street Live this year. I will make a motion to approve the request to hold Main Street Live to allow restaurants to use the sidewalks every Friday and Saturday from May 31st to September 28th, and to approve the request of the EDC to provide music on the Common every other Friday on July 12th, 26th, August 9th, August 23rd, September 6th, and to hold the main event Friday, September 13th until 11:30 p.m. No beer or wine or any alcohol may be served until such time that the one-day license has been submitted and approved by the board.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye. I will make a motion to approve the request to have live entertainment on June 22nd, 2019, from 1 to 5 for a bridal shower. Do we have a, on Crosswoods Path? All right, I was looking for that.
I'll second that. All in favor, please say aye.
I was gonna say, everybody's up for some live and wherever they are.
Okay, didn't have it.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the request for a one-day all alcohol license for May 18th from 7 to 11 at the Knights of Columbus.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye. I will make a motion to approve the request of the Walpole Sportsmen's Association for a one-day all alcohol license on June 16th from 1 to 5 p.m.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye. I'll make a motion to award contract 2019-08 Old Post Road water main replacement to the,
Request, could I hold off on that? There's some paperwork that
Sure.
Kelly brought to my attention today, so.
I am removing my motion. not completed?
Okay. With the time being 7:45, is there anybody here for open forum? Okay. How about the consent agenda?
Sure. It's the consent agenda. These items will be heard as one motion. They are all donations to various departments of the town. Middlesex Savings Bank to the Department of Recreation in the amount of $1,000. Middlesex Savings Bank to the Trails Committee in the amount of $250. Christina and Sean Sullivan to the Council on Aging Gift Fund. Margaret Judges to the Council on Aging Gift Fund. Ellen Grasso to the Council on Aging Gift Fund. And Barbara Markway to the Council on Aging Gift Fund.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? I just say thank you to all the donors. We have a motion, a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Oh, was an aye.
Would you like me to go over mine? I think Boris is here.
Sure. Are you Boris? Come on up, Boris, sorry. Hope we didn't lead you astray. Did you get to tour other buildings in town? I'll go right to the microphone. We're on TV, so it's your chance to just let the people of Walpole know who you are, so.
Sure. My name is Boris Sanch. I'm a 10-year resident at Walpole. My kids currently are attending Boyden Elementary School. I live right on Common Street and have been interested in paying my dues to the town and volunteering to provide any services that I can to help my kids and all the other kids in town experience a better education system.
Great. I'll open it up for questions. Anybody have any questions for Boris? So, what I explained before, what I think happened is we used to meet over at Town Hall, but because the room got flooded, we're over here. And we think some of the other, we know 5 people applied and 4 said they were coming. We think they're chasing us down because sometimes we meet at the police station, sometimes we meet at the library. So thank you for volunteering. You know, I always tell people, I think volunteering is a great thing. It's one of the things that makes for a great town when lots of people are willing to give of themselves. I think I'm going to hold off on voting for a few more minutes.
Sure.
Just to see if the others come. We always like to interview all the people before we make a decision.
Absolutely.
So we're going to move on with some other business. If you could wait a few more minutes.
Sure.
We'll give people a few more minutes to see if they can track us down, so.
I did reach out to Patrick and Stacy to check Town Hall and see if anybody's looking for us, so.
Okay,
I told him we were here.
okay, all right.
Nice text.
We'll give it a few more minutes and then we'll move on, so. Thank you. All right, Jim.
Okay, just a few items from me. Paving started actually today. They completed the milling on Bullard Street. They're gonna do Bullard from the Norwood Town Line down to Route 1A. And then we're gonna start Coney Street, North Street, High Street after that. And likely do the courts and the tennis courts, basketball courts, probably midsummer or so, once the recreation's completed their programs there. And center pool parking lot won't be done until after pool season, as they start to wind down. Springtown meeting, budgets are set, Joey's entered them in Munis, it's ready to go. The adjustment's been made to the police department budget under Article 5. So far, I've received some positive feedback about the electronic voting. I don't know if the board's heard anything positive or negative on that. And already started thinking about the fall town meeting. Cindy and I have talked about opening and closing the warrant. We're looking at sometime in June.
First
opening
meeting
it,
in June.
and then closing it August.
Yeah.
So
So I can give you a little feedback on electronic voting. I know there were some people who were skeptical of it, and they like it now because at whatever time it was, 11:15, when it came to a vote, they were, in the old days, we would do a standing vote, and that would take 10 or 12 minutes, and then nobody would be satisfied, and so we'd go to a roll call vote, which would take another 15 minutes. So we would have been looking at 25 to 30 minutes of voting. And regardless of which side of the issue we're on, several people told me they liked the electronic voting because it happened quickly and there was the vote and we could all move on. So
Absolutely. I think it saved an entire night of town meeting.
I think it
you
saved a
would-
lot of
I
time.
think you would have been into a third night of town meeting had there not been electronic voting. I think, those screens do pass by quick, but everybody had an opportunity to verify their vote. And, having the tabulation there and everything, was great. Because I know even when we did the standing vote, we had, sometimes the tellers would disagree on the amount, they'd have to go back through it, and it was like, who knew? So, and I think only one time, I had watched a meeting a couple of years ago where they did electronic voting, and, every once in a while, one goes wrong. We only had one instance where someone said, I didn't either get my vote in time, or it was incorrect on the screen because they messed up. At the meeting I watched, it happened on several occasions, so I think we did pretty good. I just wonder in the future if we'll look at sharing this equipment with the town, or is rental the only option, as this stuff goes.
I think we could rent or buy it. I think they can look into that. I think one of the issues is if you buy it, you own it, and when the next upgrade comes out, you
Right.
still own the old version. So I think,
Mike Donovan was kind of part of us, part of the meetings when we sat through it. He thinks eventually you could just have it on your phone eventually.
Have an app, yeah.
He said, let's try it for a couple of years and rent it and then see where it goes.
That makes some sense to me. I think you could have some kind of secure system with an app that probably works.
I heard nothing but positive feedback on it. Speaking personally, I thought it was great. It worked really well. It was easy. I liked being able to see the results up on the screen. It certainly saved time, David, to your point. And I didn't have anybody tell me they didn't like it. And that's probably a couple of dozen people who I talked to. So it was, I thought, really, really good.
I think everybody had it figured out pretty quickly. I had a few people pointing it towards the screen, like there was a clicker. But other than that, I think everybody figured out that
I have
it's.
to confess, I did look for the mute button a couple times.
And one feedback, Rachel Jackson, the high school nurse, who this was her first town meeting, she had watched Monday night and then was at Wednesday night, and she was actually disappointed that that wasn't an
didn't get to
option.
see the vote.
Well, throughout the entire thing, and she said, well, that's how you do it in school. You go back to school or in school, so.
and that's, I think, where the Rules Committee can give some more feedback of their opinion of the different precincts. And but I think it was a successful experiment, and we should continue and let the Rules Committee sort of tinker with it if they want to.
Absolutely.
So Jim, what happened downtown today at the traffic light? I was part of that giant traffic jam for a while.
They were working on it, went out, it was, I know they were working on it last night, because I got stuck in the same thing, so we called in our vendor, and the box timing was totally off, and they were working on replacing it, so apologize for that.
So do we own those traffic light boxes, or does
We
the
own those
state?
traffic
Okay,
light
that's too
boxes.
bad.
We did that a couple of years ago, when we did the downtown, what was that, 2-3 years ago? We did all that work down there.
Okay, yeah.
And that was part of it, so it's, they're not really that old at all, so.
Yep, okay.
So they're working on it.
I just heard about it from people, and I was sort of, I realized it in time that I was able to turn away before I waited too long, but I was there for a while.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, thank you.
One question. What basketball courts are getting paved? Which
The
basketball?
2 middle schools and the tennis courts up at the high school.
Yeah, the middle school, the Johnson one's terrible. I know
Going back
that.
to school.
Yeah.
So, Andrea Roberts, I would like to speak for her. I had spoken to her before, and her
And
family.
I know her family has the flu tonight.
Her
so
family has the flu, which I
I guess thank you for not coming in.
Right, and so, exactly. And with that being said, she has been in town for a while. She did not grow up here, but she has young kids in the school, as everyone else did. But as far as giving a recommendation, I would like to give a strong recommendation for her. I think she would do a great job. And if you are okay with that, I would like to make a motion to appoint her as one of the,
So my suggestion is that we each vote for two and then see where we stand. Does that make sense? Because that's typically what we've done in the past, so. David, did you have a question or comment?
No, that's fine. That works, I think.
Could I make a suggestion?
Sure.
And we probably are under some time pressure to get this done.
we are, we've already pushed it off.
I just hate the fact that we've got a bunch of people who are willing to volunteer, and because of, and Cindy, I know you told them, but this is a bit of a jumble. And I just hate the thought of not having people who volunteered because of some snafu not be able to come in and talk to us. What is the time pressure that we're operating under?
So we have to get it to the state no later than the 31st. Our meeting is on the 28th.
And we've been having a working group meet every 2 weeks with mostly department heads, myself, Patrick, a couple of members of the school committee. We've all been trying to stay ahead of this curve because we're so new at this. These people were notified. I know where you're coming from, Jim, but I wanted this appointment made 2 weeks ago so we could cover our bases with the state and really ask the board to do it tonight. I understand where you're coming from, though.
Did you forget?
Well, he just texted, I think he said.
I texted everyone, that's how I knew Boris was around the corner. I went through the list here and got their cell phone numbers off it, so.
Okay.
You know,
Can I say something?
Sure.
Like, the 12 about to make it here. So, like, there was a snafu and the flu, yes, thank you, don't come. But 2 out of the 5 did show up.
Yeah.
So you, like, if there was a snafu, but you can figure out where the meeting is.
Yep. Yeah, we're just used to normally when people say they're coming, they all show up, so it was just unusual, so.
Oh, they tell me.
Huh.
Like she did, like Andrea.
Oh, they call, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So how about if we just go around, give me the 2 votes, we'll tally them up. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay. David, you want to go first?
I'm just gonna abstain. I'll let you guys
Okay.
figure it out.
Nancy?
I'm gonna make a motion for Andrea Roberts and Boris Sinek.
Okay. Jim?
Or make my vote.
I'm sort of betwixt and between on this one because I honestly feel that the people who actually did show up here, that they get points for that, in all truth. And it's really unfortunate that others didn't show up. And Nancy, I completely appreciate your, representing the person, especially the one who had the flu. But I'll be honest with you, I have a very hard time not supporting the 2 people who actually got here. So I'm gonna go with Katya and Boris.
Okay.
Okay?
I'm going to do the same thing, Jim. Just, there's something to be said for making the meeting, so. Our 2 appointees will be, well, we need to make a motion. I'll make a motion to appoint Boris Sinek and Katia Santiago Taylor as the 2 representatives at large to the school building committee. Do we have a second?
Do you wanna do them separate, or wait?
Sure, we can do them separate. So I'll make a motion to appoint Boris Sinek as a member at large to the school building committee. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Abstain, 301. I'll make a motion to appoint Katia Santiago Taylor as a member at large to the school building committee. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 No.
So 2-1. 2-1-1. Okay. So you're both gonna get a letter from Cindy.
Is that a motion? Is that a,
Does it have to be a majority?
That's the majority of the board voting, right? 2-1.
well, 2-1-1? I don't
Yeah,
know.
that should pass.
Yep.
It'd be different if it was 2-2.
Yeah, yeah. So you're gonna get a letter from Cindy, go to the town clerk's office, get sworn in. The first meetings of the official board will be in June, probably on Tuesday. But we'll be giving the list to the rest of the committee probably tomorrow or as soon as we can. And they'll add you to an email list. I think we have your emails. If we do? Okay. So we'll make sure you get added to the email list and start getting notified, so thank you for volunteering.
And to the other applicants, being such a long process, I suspect that
There'll
people's
be
lives,
dropouts.
there may be openings in the future to keep a lookout for as people's lives.
Absolutely, yeah.
And responsibilities change.
Okay.
Just,
One more motion, the big one.
yeah, that's the one that counts.
Where's that one?
It's,
5-5.
Yeah. Motion to appoint the following.
Oh,
Go to MSBA.
We voted as one block though, right? We don't have to vote each line?
No, that's fine, just
Okay.
vote it as one.
Yeah.
okay, a motion per the MSBA requirements. It is moved that the Board of Selectmen appoint the following individuals to the School Building Committee. Mike Friska. Oh, Dave Salvatore. Jim Johnson,
Non-voting.
Non-voting for Jim.
non-voting member. So the school has 3?
Yes.
Okay, Nancy Gallivan, Mark Breen, Jen Gios, Bridget Go, Don Anderson, Jack Conroy, Jack Fisher, Jeff Fisher, Ed Connor, Bill Hahn, Susan Lawson, and
The two people
our
we just
two,
voted. so-
Boris and
Boris and
Katia.
Katia. So, I'll second that. We have a motion and a second. Any final discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Great. The committee is formed, so.
There you go. Off and running.
Are you here for something special? I mean,
I just came to see if there was any questions on the Texas Roadhouse officer change.
no, there weren't. That went right through.
Right through,
Sorry.
yes.
Carry on.
Anything, just let me know. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I thought he looked familiar.
I know,
Yeah.
that's, now that he
Attorney,
say
too.
that, he is right for the,
Yeah.
he's been in before.
Yeah, they were doing all Texas Roadhouses, so the ABCC basically approves it.
With the time being 8 o'clock, I'll do a motion to adjourn so we can go watch the Bruins game. Do I have a second?
Agreed.
Motion and a second. All in
Aye.
favor, please say aye.
Aye.